What's going on, everybody? We're going to talk about a one-way trip to enlightenment and what that actually means. We're also going to talk about intellectually getting enlightened and how to dissect through thoughts. And I'm going to give examples of that. And it's so now it's nice out today, even though obviously it's still cold. But I realize warmer weather can be beneficial to people in certain situations. Obviously in warmer weather too, there's going to be more sun because that's how it gets warm, basically, for the most part. So when I mean one-way trip to an enlightenment, when you do become enlightened, that's exactly what it's going to be, is a one-way trip. You'll only know when it happens because you'll be from one moment, you'll be in thought, or we could just say moment, and then next moment you'll be enlightened, or you'll be back in the moment. So you'll go from thought to moment, and it's literally instantly. It's a one-way trip. And that is the basis of it. It's not like you have to go to point A, to go to point B, to go to point C, and then you finally arrive. Now, theoretically, you can have a story like that, but even so, you're going to go from moment to next moment. And when the Buddhists specifically talk about reincarnation, this is what they talk about as in thoughts speaking. They talk about when people have a thought. So you have a thought, you sit on it for a little bit. Some people sit on it for a long time. Some people sit on it all their life. So eventually you'll have either A, you'll go to another thought, some people. B, you'll have a break in thought, a couple seconds. Boom, you'll have another thought. This is what the Buddhists call reincarnation. There is another aspect to it, but for now, this is the basis of it. And so that process repeats. Thought, break, couple seconds, thought, break. Now, they usually don't become, it's almost like, it's like a computer system. And that's just what came to me. Because eventually, it'll just be on one break. But it can still do stuff. That's the crazy thing about it. It can still flow. That's the word I like, flowing, when you're in the flow of things. Because it's just so graceful. It feels so good to be alive. So that's all you need to know on that aspect. You're going to go for one moment. You're not going to be enlightened. And you go straight into it. And what I wanted to say is when people have those breaks in between their things, they could not know, they could be stuck there. And they could not know about enlightenment, or they could not be aware of these breaks. They could just naturally happen, but they're still unconscious of it happening. Or they could be conscious of it happening too, but if that was the case, then they're definitely spiritually awakened and they're becoming enlightened. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Don't want to make this video too long. So when we dissect thoughts, I don't need to do this because I can go straight into it. But there's some people who do. Ultimately, they're going to go from place to place, search for this, search for that. But that's just the nature of it. But when it does happen, again, you're going to go straight into it. So to some degree, all the stuff you did before doesn't matter. But to some degree it does. It's like a paradox, because you're going straight into it. A moment of silence. Okay, so when we dissect thoughts, which is one way to become an intellectually enlightened, and I'm going to give you exercises. So just ask. All good ones that I learned would be like, where is this going? That immediately always cuts that thought off. It brings it to a dead end, which ultimately, I don't want to say dead end, but it opens up your mind so it's not stuck on that. Because your mind, if wants to go against you and beat you up, most of the time, it's not that case for me, unfortunately. It has a little bit, but my mind has always been happy and funny, and I laugh at a lot of things. I laugh at so many things. People come up to me, or people that I'm with, like friends, I can't even laugh that much because they're always like annoying me, like, what are you laughing about? And it's because I feel good. I think shit's funny all the time. And I was going to say one more thing, but yeah, I'm just laughing. So it's too much for people, basically. When you feel too good, sometimes it's too much for people because they don't understand it. Anywho, that's very true. That's why people isolate themselves in a lot of situations, whether they're enlightened or not. So growing aware is the best thing you could ever do. So ask where this thought is going, because then you'll see that it's not going anywhere, or you'll actually question that. Where is this going? And it feels very good. So when you dissect thoughts, you're just getting to the core. This is not the way I do things, but it can be a useful tool for you, especially. Because again, if you cut it off, if somehow you dissect it, like, I'm going to the circus today, you're thinking about, and when you feel good about something, You don't have to think about it more, because what your mind's going to do, your mind likes the problem so it can solve it. I'm going to the circus today. We'll just say, like, you're wondering, like, what's it going to be like? Which any thought's valid. But, and then you think, oh, is it going to be like this? Is it going to be like that? But you'll see, once you get there and actually be there, it's never like that at all. Very solemnly. There could be like 1% that happens to, but doesn't matter. You don't, because once you're there in the moment, you won't be thinking about it. And so when we cut these things off, they have nowhere to live, and you're going straight into the moment. So you might have to dissect a few things. Maybe you dissect something, you have a moment of peace, you're becoming aware because you heard about this video, or maybe you just became aware naturally. And then your presence sees that, and then you have another thought. Presence is more like a focus and an alertness. It's not tense. Concentration could be used too, but it's without thought. It's looking at something, shapes and forms. Gotta make sure the video's still rolling. And I will say crows, there's a lot of crows where I live, from where I used to live, and they make some awkward sounds. Or maybe it's another bird, but no, it's definitely the crow. So I swear crows can make a couple different sounds. Anywho, when you dissect the thoughts, then again, they're gone. You're going in the present moment. Now you have this key, and you can be aware. So once you start installing more breaks in your life, then it will gradually increase. It has to. Unless you're doing very damaging stuff to your body and your energy's going down, because it takes a certain energy to be in that state, basically. And if you're run down, very unhealthy, never use your body, because your ego is basically resistance in just like a different form of wave, basically. Yeah, we want to be slow and relaxed, not very fidgety in thoughts. Want to be controlled, basically, executing things. I like it over here, but unfortunately my hand's weak. And that's basically it. You know, it's a long enough video. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Yeah, that's basically it. Keep them keys with you when you're jumping thought to thought. Be aware. Ask something do whatever you can to end that thought. Whatever it is best for you, whatever you feels best, do it. It could actually mean going and physically doing something, an activity. Or if you're just on a walk and a thought pops in your head and you're watching it, ask, where is this going? Do whatever you can to etc. to end that thought. And once you get there, use that when any other thought comes up. Do what works for you. And this is the one-way trip to enlightenment. Have a nice day.